I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this. Honestly, I always believed that my marriage to Corinne was solid. We'd been together for over 10 years, married for 7. We had our ups and downs, sure, like any couple, but I thought we were in a good place. She was a little bitchy at times, but that's just her personality. She's always been quick with a snarky remark or a sharp comment, but I never thought she'd do something as low as cheating on me. Not with the person I trusted the most, her dog trainer of all people. It all started a few months ago. Corinne decided she wanted to get healthier, lose some weight, and get in shape. That's when she hired this trainer, Tom. Tom's a guy in his early 30s, pretty good looking, the kind of guy who looks like he knows what he's doing. Corinne was obsessed with losing weight, and she threw herself into these sessions with him. I was working long hours at the office, so I didn't pay much attention at first. I figured she was just trying to get fit like so many women do. But I noticed something strange. She was always sneaking out early for her sessions or coming home late. She'd be jittery, avoid eye contact, and sometimes she'd seem overly defensive when I asked her about Tom. I brushed it off as paranoia or maybe just her being bitchy as she can be. Then the small things started adding up. Her phone being glued to her hand, late-night texts that she'd quickly delete, and her being secretive about where she was going after her sessions. I didn't want to believe it, but deep down, I knew something was off. One night I decided to do a little digging. I installed a pet camera in our living room, something I'd been meaning to do for a while, just to check on our puppy Max when we weren't home. It's a cheap little Wi-Fi camera, nothing fancy. I set it up last weekend and forgot about it, honestly. I figured I'd just peek in if I was worried about Max, see how he was doing when I was at work. But last night I remembered I had it on, and I decided to check the feed out of boredom. That's when everything changed. I had no idea what I was going to see, but I was curious. I pulled up the app on my phone and started watching the live feed. At first it was just Max sleeping on his bed, nothing out of the ordinary. But then I saw her, Corinne. She was in the living room sitting on the couch, and she wasn't alone. Someone was with her. My stomach dropped. I paused the feed and zoomed in. It was Tom, the dog trainer. I could see his face clearly now. They were sitting close, whispering, and then things took a turn. I saw her lean in, and suddenly it was obvious what was happening. They weren't just talking about the puppy training anymore. No, she was straddling him, her hands on his shoulders, and he was leaning in, kissing her. My blood ran cold. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That bitch was cheating on me with the guy I trusted to help her get fit. It was so blatant, so right there in my living room, I couldn't deny it. I kept staring, trying to process what I was witnessing. My wife, Corinne, the girl I married, the woman I loved, was cheating with our dog trainer. I never thought I'd see the day. The betrayal hit hard, like a punch to the gut. I felt numb, angry, and full of questions I didn't even know how to ask. I sat there for a long time, watching her with Tom, feeling like I was in some terrible nightmare. How could she do this? How could she lie so easily? She had always been bitchy, yes, but I never thought she'd be this kind of person. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew I needed a plan. I needed to process this, gather my thoughts, and figure out what to do next. Because right now I was just hit with the harsh reality. My wife had been cheating on me with the guy I trusted to help her get in shape, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. No, they looked like they had been doing this for a while. The worst part, she lied to my face about everything. After I finished watching the video, my mind was racing. I couldn't sleep that night. The image of Corinne on the couch with Tom haunted me. I kept replaying it in my head, trying to understand how she could do this. How could she cheat with someone I thought was just her trainer? It wasn't just betrayal, it felt like a punch to the gut. I kept asking myself, what did I do wrong? Was I never enough? Did I miss the signs? The truth was, I had ignored the small signs because I didn't want to believe she could do something like this. But now I knew better. The next day was a blur. I couldn't focus at work, and all I wanted was to get home and confront her. I didn't want to jump into anything without a plan. I needed to be smart, cold even. I started thinking about what I'd say, how I'd confront her, and most importantly, what I wanted as an outcome. I knew I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. No more hiding from the truth. I had to face her. When I got home that evening, I found her in the kitchen cooking. She looked up at me with her usual bitchy glare and asked, "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." I stared at her for a moment, trying to keep my voice steady. I saw the video, Corinne, the one from the pet camera. Her face instantly turned cold and she started lying. "What are you talking about? You know I don't appreciate your snooping. You're crazy if you think I cheated on you. I didn't let her get away with it. Don't lie to me. I saw her, Tom, your trainer, sitting on the couch with you, kissing you. Don't deny it." Her eyes flickered for a second like she was trying to come up with a lie, but then she just shrugged and threw her hands up. "It's none of your business. Maybe I just needed some comfort. You're never around, always working, never paying attention to me." Her voice was sharp, hostile. I could see the flicker of guilt behind her eyes, but she was trying to hide it behind her bitchy attitude. That was my breaking point. I felt a mix of anger, hurt, and disgust. I told her I wasn't going to stand for this bullshit anymore. I told her I deserved honesty, not her sneaking around behind my back. She kept denying it, calling me paranoid, saying I was crazy for spying. But I wasn't crazy. I'd seen what I saw. I told her I wanted her to pack her things and leave, that I wasn't interested in pretending everything was fine anymore. Her face twisted into a sneer and she stormed out of the kitchen, telling me I was overreacting, that I was being unreasonable. But I wasn't done. I couldn't just let her walk away and pretend this never happened. I wanted to know how long this had been going on, how many nights she'd spent in bed with him, and what exactly they did behind my back. I started digging into her phone, her social media, anything I could find. It was like peeling back layers of a toxic onion. Every message, every photo, every reply was a dagger. It confirmed what I already knew, that this wasn't just a mistake or a fling. No, this was a full-blown affair, and she didn't even try to hide it. She was brazen about it. I felt like a fool. I'd trusted her, loved her, built a life with her. And she had been sneaking around, fucking our dog trainer and lying straight to my face. I couldn't believe I had been so blind. The worst part was the emotional blow, realizing she saw me as nothing more than a paycheck, a placeholder. I felt broken, angry, and helpless all at once. But underneath it all, a small voice kept saying I needed to do something, something to make her regret what she did. I couldn't just let her get away with it. I had to fight back, even if it meant destroying everything we had. Now I was stuck in this horrible limbo, wondering if I could even save what was left or if I should just cut my losses and walk away. But I knew one thing for sure. She was no longer the woman I thought I married. The betrayal had cut too deep, and I was starting to see just how cold and selfish she could be. I wasn't sure what my next step would be, but I knew I couldn't stay silent. Not anymore. The days that followed were a blur of anger, sadness, and a strange sense of clarity. I kept replaying the moment I saw her with Tom, over and over again, trying to understand how I missed all the signs. It was like a punch in the stomach every time I thought about it. I knew I couldn't just sit around feeling sorry for myself, though. I had to come up with a plan, something to expose her, to make her regret what she had done, and to protect whatever dignity I had left. I started thinking about what I could do to hurt her the way she hurt me. I wasn't the type to go for petty revenge, but this was different. This was her betraying everything we had built. I remembered that I had a few videos from some private sessions she'd had with Tom, stuff I'd seen on her phone. I wasn't planning on showing her those, at least not yet. Instead, I wanted to gather solid evidence, text messages, emails, anything that proved her affair beyond a doubt. I wasn't going to confront her blind. I wanted her to see that I had all the receipts. One night, I broke into her email account. I used my tech skills, which I'd been practicing over the years, and managed to get in without her knowing. What I found was worse than I imagined. There were dozens of messages between her and Tom, talking about their sessions, secret meetings, and how much they enjoyed each other's company. She'd even sent him pictures, nothing explicit but enough to make it clear what they had been doing. There were too many details to ignore. I printed everything out and made copies. I wanted proof that she was lying about everything, and I was going to use it. At this point, I was furious. I wanted to confront her, not just to humiliate her, but to make her feel the pain she'd caused me. I knew her well enough to know that she loved to twist words, to deny everything, and to act like she was the victim. So I waited. I waited until I knew she'd be home alone, then I set my plan in motion. I kept the evidence hidden just in case, but I was ready to use it whenever the time was right. When she finally came home, I was waiting in the living room with all the proof laid out on the table in front of me. She looked surprised at first, then pissed off. "What's all this?" she snapped, trying to act innocent, but the cracks in her facade were obvious. I looked her straight in the eyes and told her I knew everything, from her secret sessions with Tom to her lying about them. I played the recordings I had, the emails, and showed her the texts. Her face turned beet red and she stammered, trying to deny everything. "It's not what it looks like," she said, her voice trembling. "You don't understand. I didn't buy her bullshit." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I said. "You've been cheating on me for months with our own dog trainer. You've been lying to my face, sneaking around behind my back. Do you think I'm stupid?" Her eyes flickered with fury and guilt, but she kept up the act of innocence. "I was just lonely. You're never home. Tom was just helping me with my fitness. It's not what you think." Her words sounded hollow, like she was trying to convince herself as much as me. That's when I decided I'd had enough. I told her she needed to leave, that I didn't want her in my house anymore. She snarled and told me I was overreacting, that I was jealous and insecure, but I didn't care anymore. I was done. With her lies, I felt a strange mixture of relief and devastation. Part of me wanted to scream, to shout at her and throw her out physically, but I kept my composure. I told her she could take her stuff and get the hell out. The next day she packed her things and left. She called me every name in the book, accusing me of spying and stalking her, but I didn't care. I told her she was a cheating bitch who got exactly what she deserved. I spent the following days trying to piece myself back together. It was brutal. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and honestly a little pathetic. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I let her do this to me. Now I'm left with more questions than answers. I still love her, or at least I did, until I saw the betrayal in her eyes. I guess I was naive, thinking we had something real. But what I learned from all this is that trust is fragile, and sometimes the person you love the most is the one who can hurt you the deepest. I don't know if I'll ever fully recover from this. Maybe I'll try to move on, or maybe I'll just stay alone and guard myself from ever trusting anyone that much again. Either way, I know one thing. I'll never forget the day I found out she cheated on me with our dog trainer, and I'll never forgive her for it. After she left, I thought I'd feel some kind of relief, but honestly, that's not how it played out. Instead, I was hit with this overwhelming emptiness. For days, I kept looking at the empty space where she used to be, the place that used to be filled with her bitchy comments, her mood swings, her lies. It felt like I lost a part of myself, and I kept asking how I didn't see what was happening, how I missed all the signs until it was too late. I spent hours going through every message, every photo, every little thing that proved her infidelity. I couldn't believe she had been lying to me all this time, acting innocent when she was sneaking off with Tom behind my back. She had a way of making herself the victim, always bitching about how I never paid enough attention, how I was never around. But the truth was, I was just busy trying to keep everything afloat, work, bills, life. I thought she understood that. Apparently she didn't, or maybe she just didn't care. I remember sitting in the living room, staring at that stupid pet camera feed that started it all, remembering how I'd watched her on that couch with Tom, her hand on his knee, their faces so close. It was like a punch in the stomach every time I thought about it. I kept asking myself, how did I let it get this far? How did I miss all the warning signs? I kept blaming myself, even though I knew deep down I wasn't the one at fault. She was the one who betrayed us, her vows, her marriage, everything we built. I also felt this intense anger at her, and anger at myself for trusting her so blindly. I'd always been loyal, always tried to be a good husband. Meanwhile, she was out there, screwing our dog trainer, lying through her teeth. The image of her with Tom kept flashing in my mind over and over. I started questioning everything. Was she ever really mine? Did I mean anything to her? Or was I just a safety net she'd drop when someone better came along? That anger eventually turned into a kind of resolve. I knew I couldn't let her have victory, not completely. If she thought she could betray me and walk away without consequences, she had another thing coming. I promised myself I'd get revenge, not in any destructive way, but in a way that would make her regret ever crossing me. I wasn't just going to file for divorce and fade into the background. No, I had to make her see that she couldn't cheat, lie, and walk away without paying the price. So I started to plan. I knew I needed to hit her where it hurt, the truth. I wanted her to see what she threw away, what she lost when she chose a man like Tom over her marriage. I wanted her to feel the pain of betrayal in every fiber of her being. I was going to make her regret every lie, every sneaky moment, every night she spent with him. I'd gather everything, the emails, the messages, the recordings, and I'd use them, not just to hurt her, but to make her understand the damage she caused. Because that's when you really get someone, when they see the full weight of what they've done. At the same time, I couldn't help but feel a sense of shame. I've been blind, yes, but I also kept asking myself if I was enough. Maybe I was. Maybe I was just too focused on work, too busy trying to keep the peace, and that's why she cheated. Or maybe she was just a bitchy woman who never truly loved me. Either way, her betrayal left me hollow, questioning everything I thought I knew about our life together. Now I'm standing at a crossroads. Do I try to salvage what's left, or do I let her go completely? Part of me still hopes she'll come back, maybe realize what she lost. But deep down, I know that's probably not going to happen. She's made her choice. Tom, her trainer, her secret lover, and I don't think she's coming back from that. She's shown me who she really is. A selfish, unfaithful bitch who would screw our own dog trainer behind my back and then lie about it like it's nothing. Honestly, I don't even know if I want her back. I just want to be free from this mess, to heal, and to figure out who I am without her dragging me through this hell. But the scars will stay. That kind of betrayal doesn't just go away overnight. It stays with you, a constant reminder of how fragile trust can be, and how one moment of weakness or selfishness can destroy everything you thought was real. I've learned a lot about myself through this. Namely, never let your guard down. Never assume the person you love is perfect. Because sometimes, they're just hiding a darkness you never saw coming. It's been a few weeks since she moved out, and honestly, I still feel like I'm walking around in a fog. Some days are better than others, but the pain of that betrayal is always lurking just beneath the surface. I keep thinking about all the years we spent building our life together, how I was so trusting, so naive. Now I realize trust is a fragile thing, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to fully repair. I've been trying to piece myself back together, piece by piece, but it's not easy. I've started to see the signs I missed, the little things that should've clued me in: her phone always hiding, her sudden mood swings, the way her eyes darted when she thought I wasn't looking. It's hard not to beat myself up for not noticing sooner. But at the same time, I remind myself she was the one hiding things, not me. I was just blind, blinded by love and maybe a bit of stupidity. In the quiet moments, I ask myself if I did the right thing by confronting her like that. Did I humiliate her enough? Or was I too gentle? Part of me wanted her to feel the full weight of what she did, to see how much she lost. I wanted her to regret every lie, every sneaky session with Tom. Honestly, I think she's feeling it now. I've seen her trying to call, texting, but I ignore her. I know she's probably trying to manipulate me, to make me feel guilty for exposing her, but I don't care anymore. If she wanted to keep her secrets, she should have thought about that before she cheated. I also started thinking about what I want next. Do I want to try to fix this, or do I just cut my losses? I'm leaning more toward the latter. The trust is shattered beyond repair, and I don't see how I could ever look at her the same way again. Honestly, I don't even want to. The betrayal was too deep. I used to think she was my partner, my best friend, but now I realize she was just pretending to be that. She played me for a fool, and I'm not sure I want to keep that kind of person in my life. But still, part of me feels lost. Without her, I feel like I've lost part of my identity. I don't know how to move on from this level of betrayal. Every time I see her face in my mind, I get this terrible ache inside. It's a mix of anger, sadness, and a kind of heartbreak that I can't brush off. I wonder if I'll ever be able to trust someone again, or if I'll just end up alone forever, guarding my heart like some fortress. The thing is, I can't get rid of the images of her with Tom out of my head. Sometimes I see her face, her expressions, and I wonder if she ever thought about the damage she was doing to us. Did she ever feel guilty? Or was she just so selfish that she didn't care? That's what hurts the most, the blatant selfishness behind her actions. She wasn't just cheating, she was actively destroying what we had built, and she never really cared. I've started to rebuild my life in small steps. I've been talking to some friends trying to get their perspective. Most of them say I should just cut ties entirely, block her, and move on. I know they're right, but it's not that easy. Part of me still hopes she'll come back, that maybe she'll realize what she lost. But deep down, I know that's wishful thinking. Once trust is gone, it's hard to get back. And honestly, I don't think I want to. Not from someone who could betray me like that. So now I'm just here, trying to figure out how to live with this pain, how to forgive myself for not seeing it earlier, and how to move forward without her. I've learned a lot from this, more than I ever wanted to, honestly. I've learned that love can blind you to the truth. That betrayal cuts way deeper than I ever thought possible, and that some people are just selfish, willing to screw you over and then lie about it like it's nothing. It's a hard lesson, but I guess it's one I needed. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I'm done with her. Done with the lies, the cheating, the betrayal. Now it's just me trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what's next. I don't want to be bitter, but it's hard not to feel that way right now. All I can do is hope that someday I'll find someone who truly values me, someone who won't cheat and lie like she did. Because I deserve that much at least. It's been a long road, and honestly, I never thought I'd come to terms with what happened, but here I am. Every day is still a struggle, but I've found a strange kind of peace in knowing I did what was necessary. The betrayal cut so deep, I thought I'd never heal, but time has a way of dulling even the sharpest wounds. I realize now that some people are just not meant to be in your life, no matter how much you loved them. Corinne was one of those people. I thought I knew her, thought she was everything I needed, but she proved me wrong. I learned a lot through this experience, lessons I can't forget. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's almost impossible to put back together. I also learned that love isn't enough if there's no honesty and respect. That betrayal can come from someone you least expect, and it can ruin you if you let it. But I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I survived her lies, her cheating, her betrayal. I'm still standing, and I will keep standing. Looking back, I see how naive I was to think that love could conquer all. It can't, especially not when one partner is willing to tear everything apart for a moment of selfish pleasure. Now, I know that I deserve better. I deserve someone who respects me enough not to cheat behind my back, who values honesty over lies. I won't settle for anything less anymore. As I close this chapter, I want anyone out there who's going through something similar to know that you're not alone. It hurts, it's devastating, but you will get through it. You will find a way to pick up the pieces, even if it takes time. Trust is not easy to rebuild, and not everyone is worth the effort. Some betrayals are so deep that the only way forward is to move on, to cut ties and leave the past behind. I've decided to focus on myself now. I've started going to therapy, working out, and reconnecting with friends who actually care. I refuse to let her betrayal define me. I refuse to let her steal my happiness. I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen or try to justify what she did. I accept it for what it was, an awful, painful lesson that I will carry with me. And in doing so, I hope to become stronger, wiser, and more cautious with who I trust in the future. In the end, I'm grateful that I saw the truth before I committed even more of my life to someone who didn't deserve it. That realization is what gives me hope. Maybe someday, I'll find someone who values me for who I am, someone who won't cheat or lie for their own selfish reasons. Until then, I'll keep rebuilding my life, piece by piece, one step at a time, because I deserve that. I deserve happiness, honesty, and real love, something I now know I will never settle for again.